上一集，祁禮謙先生同我哋睇咗飲食之星嘅出閘鏡頭，咁相信大家心入面嘅疑團咧都釋開咗啦。今集咧佢將會帶嚟更多嘅片段同我哋一一分析嘅，咁係時候即刻同佢傾下偈啦。Actually, how's the board work? Especially in the race day, you know, is everyone have the right to vote, everyone have the right to hold inquiry, and even though I know that there's not a really professional steward, there's two really so-called, it's not a professional steward, right?
That's
but will they still will any chance, any case before that they are the one who say that, hey, it needs inquiry for this race, do they have the right?
Yeah, certainly. The panel comprises of 5 professional stewards, 2 professional cadet stipendiary stewards, they're trainee stewards, as well as 2 honorary stewards. And the 2 honorary stewards comprise a member of the board of stewards and one of the 200 voting members of the club. We have a pool of about 13 voting members that we deal with, and they donate their time, both the chairman of the race meeting and the honorary steward. They donate their time, but they're professional in that they're people with vast racing experience and racing backgrounds, and they've got a thorough knowledge of the workings of the racing stewards panel. Now, as far as voting matters go, the 5 professional stewards and the 2 honorary stewards, they have voting rights. So it's 7, and it's a majority rules decision-making process where it's 3-4 or it's unanimous, whatever the case may be. The cadet stipendiary stewards don't have a vote because they're not considered to have the proper training to be able to vote on matters such as that. As far as inquiries, protest inquiries go, if the inquiry signal goes, that's usually a discussion between the chairman of the race meeting, the honorary voting member, myself, and whatever other stewards are available at the time. And it's a decision that we arrive at together. We consider the placing of the horse, we consider the margins, we consider the incident, where the incident took place, and then we decide whether we think that the inquiry signal should be posted. And then we go downstairs, down to the inquiry room, and we make a decision as to whether the matter should proceed to a formal protest objection hearing, or whether the jockey or the trainer wish to lodge their own protest objection on behalf of the connections of the horse.
Let's look at some of the case, because you want to bring us back to last season and take a look of a deep thinker, right?
Yes.
This is maybe one of the a little bit more controversial case during the last season, am I right?
Well, I mean, wherever you get a situation where you've got a protest objection that is sustained, then that always gets comment because you're changing the placings of the race. So, but as far as the decision to reverse the placings goes, well, the stewards were very comfortable that the right decision was arrived at, and I think that in the court of public opinion, I think that the bulk of the public and the bulk of racing fans, commentators, I believe they also are strongly supportive of the decision. That's Benefactor there in the leading the race, and that's Deep Thinker behind it in the blue colours. And if we just roll that on, you'll see that Benefactor has now shifted away from the fence, and there's clearly room for Deep Thinker to improve between the running rail and between Benefactor. And Ty Anglin, the jockey of Deep Thinker, immediately positions his horse to take advantage of the run inside Benefactor. We believe that he's coming quickly and that he's entitled to that run to the inside of Benefactor, because Benefactor is still one horse off the fence, and that is his running. He's now established running to the inside of Benefactor, and he should be allowed to proceed inside that horse. And you can see that Benefactor then comes into race towards the fence. There's no longer room for a horse to comfortably proceed to his inside, and you can see that in the run to the line that Deep Thinker is hampered all the way to the finishing line. And then if we go to the sideline, you can see just how much ground that Deep Thinker was making up on Benefactor. You can see there, as we get down towards the 200, he's a number of lengths behind Benefactor. That's the 200 metre mark that's there. And you can see how many lengths behind Benefactor he is at that time. You can see how quickly that he is closing the race off. And he's going to go straight through that gap, and he's going to go straight past Benefactor. Unfortunately, he can't do that due to Benefactor shifting in, and he isn't able to be tested. And the stewards were comfortably satisfied that had that interference not have occurred, that had Benefactor remained racing away from the fence, that Benefactor, considering the way that he was finishing the race off, would have gone past Benefactor and would have beaten that horse at the end of the race, and for that reason they sustained the protest objection. And we did put the inquiry signal up straight after that incident. I spoke with the chairman of the race meeting, the voting member, and we, as a group, we decided that yes, there were grounds there for the matter to be looked at, to be reviewed before weighed-in was given, and that's why the inquiry signal went up, so that the punters were forewarned. Those that backed Green Manor, who was the ultimate winner of the race, those that backed Benefactor, those that backed Deep Thinker, that had them in bets, that they were suitably well forewarned that there may be an inquiry, there may be a protest objection, and that the placings of the race may be changed.
You know, on the national days, I was quite sad that the horse I support, the Rainbow Trini, get checked, you know, and get brought. I thought that the steward were on the inquiry night, but didn't. But it happened the case that there's an objection.
Yes.
I was saying in the TV, I say, guarantee it won't be sustained. Then my colleague asked me why. I say, it can't be the case that if we can see it clearly that there's some problem, yet the stewards don't agree. So that means they believe that there's not a big case. If now they overrule the case, if now they don't overrule the case, means that we can see better than the steward. Is it true?
No, that's not the case at all, Ray. And we saw the incident live, and we, as in the chairman of the race meeting, the voting member, myself, and the other steward, professional steward that was with me, we saw the incident live, but we were satisfied on what we saw live and on the initial replay that Rainbow Chic had not established running to the inside of Helene Spirit, and for that reason we didn't put up the inquiry signal. Now, Zach Purton and Casper Founds subsequently came and looked at the video and were satisfied that the incident had a material effect on the end of the placings at the end of the race, and they lodged a protest objection. Just because the inquiry signal was not put up by the stewards straight after the race does not mean that a protest objection will not be successful. It's just that we felt that at the initial, when we looked at it initially, that Rainbow Chic had not established running. If it was subsequently ascertained that that horse had established clear running, then the stewards would not have delayed in changing the placings, in sustaining the protest. But one doesn't necessarily lead to the other. Just because the inquiry signal is not up does not mean that a protest objection cannot be successful. However, the panel as a whole agreed that with Jockey Subrix's contention that Rainbow Chic had not established running to the inside of Helene Spirit, and for that reason the protest objection was overruled. So we have Rainbow Chic in the red and black stripes, and we have Helene Spirit up in advance in the red with the green star and green sleeves. And you can see, particularly on the side-on shot as well, you can see how far behind Admiration that Rainbow Chic is at the time that the run presents itself. And we were satisfied that the run has closed now. Rainbow Chic is not in the run, because you can see on the side-on exactly how far behind Admiration that Rainbow Chic is. So it's clear to the panel that Rainbow Chic has not established clear running or rightful running between Admiration and Helene Spirit. This green marker there that indicates that we're at the 400 metre mark. You can see that Helene Spirit is racing to the outside of Admiration, and Rainbow Chic is behind those runners. Rainbow Chic is a number of lengths behind Admiration. If we let the race progress, you can see that Helene Spirit will shift out slightly, Admiration will shift in and create a run for Rainbow Chic. But if we just freeze the camera there, and that's just approaching the 300 metre mark. That orange marker there indicates the 300 metre mark. And whilst there is a run available between Admiration and Helene Spirit, again, when you look at this shot, it just shows you how far behind those horses, particularly Admiration, that Rainbow Chic is. And the stewards were satisfied that Rainbow Chic had not established rightful running between those horses. Then you'll see that there's a slight shift out from Admiration. Admiration had previously been hard up again against Penglasianzi, and you can see that ultimately that Admiration does shift out away from Penglasianzi. He had been previously hard up against that horse, but also that there had been a shift in from Helene Spirit. But in any case, the stewards were satisfied that Rainbow Chic had not established rightful running between those horses, and that the horse had been disappointed for running rather than having to be checked as a result of having established rightful running and having that rightful running taken away from it by another runner.
Well, Kim, but on the same day, there's run-down straight. I was quite surprised that this case happened on the pure force.
Yes.
From what we see in the camera, in the TV screen, then nothing really serious happened. But wow, the inquiry light on immediately after the race. What happened?
Well, during the race, the stewards up in the duty stewards box were aware that there was possible contact between the first and the second horses, Pure Force and Maroon Prince, fairly late in the race inside the 100 metres. The margin was only a short head, so it was a very narrow margin. So the stewards felt that it was best for the stewards panel as a whole to review the matter before a decision was made as to whether a protest objection inquiry should be proceeded with. However, Karis Teeton and John Moore, the trainer of Maroon Prince, did lodge a protest objection on their own behalf, so that didn't require the stewards to continue on with the protest objection after hoisting the inquiry signal. Rather, it became Karis Teeton and John Moore's protest objection, and they felt that there was contact between the horses, and that, bearing in mind the short head margin between the horses at the end of the race, that it should be adjudicated by the racing stewards panel, and we did adjudicate over the matter. At the end, we felt that there was contact between the horses, that Pure Force did shift out under pressure and brush Maroon Prince, but considering the margin between the end of the race, we couldn't be comfortably satisfied that had that contact not been made, that Maroon Prince would have beaten Pure Force, and for that reason we overruled the protest objection. And once again, it just shows you the fairness of the system, that the stewards put up the inquiry signal before the protest, yet didn't change the placings. So the stewards were saying, okay, there's something that has happened in a race that possibly might affect the placings, that doesn't automatically lead to a sustained protest objection. The matters are two devoid decisions. One, do we need to have a proper look at this? Yes. Okay, then now do we need to change the placings, or are the placings, should they stand as they are?
Well, thank you, Kim. It's so clear that now I understand much better. Please recruit me as a cadet staff.
Yeah, I think you're perfectly suited in the role that you're doing now.
Anyway, thank you so much for all the information. Hope to see you again next season. Thank you.
My pleasure.
聽完祁禮謙先生嘅訪問，相信大家都認同咧，競賽小組除咗好專業之外咧，佢哋亦都真係有好多嘅鏡頭，令到佢哋好清楚睇到每場賽事每一個角落咧發生緊咩事。所以對競賽小組，我哋真係應該投以信任嘅一票。喺呢一度再次多謝祁禮謙先生接受我哋嘅訪問，亦都預祝佢今季工作順利。好啦，人氣馬場今集時間差唔多啦，下集再見啦，拜拜。